Hello, gamers and their partners/wives/husbands.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the replay, where we replay and reply to questions from advice columns about games, and we can finally answer them properly because we know what MMORPGs are. We are the first husband and wife to ever do a podcast. I'm Eric.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Amanda's husband, so can you move back, please?
Step off, ladies, gentlemen, and other.
Can you get out of here, Pulse?
I will say, Eric, you just got a haircut, and every time you walk back into the studio with your hair's cut, because our barber is next door, I'm like, humana. Step off, Brooklyn. This podcaster is mine.
I did need to do twirls many times, and did I do it myself? And Amanda didn't ask for it? Yes. Do I know what my wife needs?
Yeah.
Which is 360-degree views constantly? Yes.
You know what, Eric? That's on me. I should have replied when you came into the studio with your haircut. No scoped.
I guess
more
after
for the barber than
around.
For you, if I think about it. But.
No, that's fair. I mean, I guess after I turned around a lot. Yeah. It's so funny. I never get my hair cut. I always get to a point where like, oh, my hair's too long, and then I hate it, and then I can't get a haircut appointment for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. That's my level.
Listeners, have I suggested Eric set up a recurring
I don't want
haircut?
that because then I always have a conflict. If I do it too early ahead of time, then I have a conflict.
It's fair. But this is marriage, baby, where what works for me doesn't work for you. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
and you try to impose it on me, and then I say no. And then you write into Dear Prudence and say that I'm an asshole.
Were you looking at my notes?
No, I just know. That's what we always talk about on here.
It's true.
Yeah, but because this is an episode of Games and Feelings, we are going to be talking about the games that are giving us feelings before we do our main feed replay. As you know, on our Patreon, we do a lot of other replays. The Patreon, the gated replays.
It's true. We recently dipped into an advice column of yours from the 1940s, baby. We do research on this here pod.
Eleanor Roosevelt was in the mix.
Yeah, and she had a honestly progressive take on the Sabbath that really surprised me.
Amanda, you can't say the Sabbath now that you're Jewish. No one says that.
On her Christian Sabbath.
On her Christian Sabbath.
On her Christian Sabbath.
Right. Sabbath is a good name for like an NPC if you're thinking of one.
Oh, it's a great one. I love that.
Okay, so what is the game that's giving you feelings, Amanda?
Eric, I think our answer is going to be the same for this one because it's a me movie-o.
Woohoo!
It's us. We saw the Super Mario movie and it was fucking awesome.
It was
gave
really
me feelings.
good.
It was so good.
It was really good. Amanda, because you walked out of the Dungeons & Dragons movie, I think that I need your summary first of why you liked it and the feelings you're feeling because of the Super Mario movie.
I loved the Super Mario movie. I thought it was a joyful and really specific story that used all of the world building and mechanics and limits of the games, the things that we as people who played this game growing up and know it really intimately are like, oh my God, like it's both the thing that I think movie adaptations do really well, where it's like the thing I love from one screen on a different screen, you know, like I got to see the platforms and the toadstools and all of the things, you know, rendered newly, but also it was ultimately about a story and characters that made sense in the world. And I got a sense of stakes. There was such joy. There was so much like reverence and love. Like somebody thought really freaking hard about the best way to render the pipes and render the, you know, the conflict and, you know, make sense of the fact that this is a video game with almost no plot that they are now rendering into a tight 90-minute movie that has to have a plot, but
and
in a way
say first, this was a 90-minute children's movie. It had the barest of plots.
Yeah, but they know, like, I don't know, they did their best to make a really good movie and a really good Mario story. And that is the opposite of the feeling I got from the D&D movie, which we saw a few days before that.
Yes, I think we're going to be using that as a comparison point. For the majority of it. There's also a lot of debt to Mario Odyssey. For those who don't know, the plot of Mario Odyssey is that everyone wears hats, and Mario can possess people with hats. But the point is that Bowser actually kidnapped Peach to marry her, which is something that is very like action movie and doesn't need to go deeper than that. Like Mario games usually don't really have a plot other than like Bowser's a bad guy, he's trying to take over the blank.
And you have to get from the left side of the screen to the right side.
Right, exactly. But like Bowser actually had some context. It's like, well, who is the kind of guy who would want to marry a woman who's never talked to him?
And who hates him, yeah.
Yeah, and Jack Black fucking crushed that. He played a song, which everyone saw and everyone knew about.
I think, Eric, my thing is like there was just enough contextualizing and thinking about why things exist. Like, it makes total sense for all of the carts to be in a place, for the platforming and the idea of like the flag you grab at the end of a course to have some contextual sense in the movie. And like it's there and it's joyful. And we get a couple instances of like watching a platforming scroller that goes left to right.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it like the action of the movie, but I would call it the platforming sections of the movie.
It was great, but it didn't feel shoehorned in or gratuitous or like they needed to do it or they felt obligated to do it and therefore it's stupid. Like, I don't know, they took everything at its merits, and like that's all I want out of an adaptation. I'm not looking to get the exact same feeling, the exact same beats, the exact same experience that I do in The Other Thing. I've said this for a long time about book to movie adaptations. I think almost all the time putting a book on screen is a bad idea, and you have to make some smart and decisive actions, and it felt like everybody cared so much and felt their responsibility but got joy out of it instead of like, oh God, we just got to do this thing.
Yeah, I want to share a tweet that I saw that I really agree with from Mike Drucker. I'm biased, but I honestly love that the Super Mario Bros. Movie just literalized the games and ran with it. It's not trying to adapt a Nintendo game, it just is a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie felt like watching someone else play a good game that has a couple levels and a lot of cutscenes. It's the Metal Gear Solid 4 of family films.
Maybe that is why I loved it.
I totally agree with it. Like, it wasn't an adaptation. I think here's a good comparison point for the D&D movie. Hasbro said, we need a movie of our IP, and decided, well, how are we going to do this? Well, fuck all the game shit. We're just going to have a fantasy action comedy movie set in our world. And that's how they decided. That's their adaptation, which felt very corporatized to me. Very much like the invisible hand of capitalism was writing the script and cashing the checks and making Chris Pine do whatever. But this instead felt like this is what it is, which I think might be a little bit different because Illumination, the Despicable Me people who made the actual movie, and Nintendo worked on this hand in hand.
Yeah, the D&D movie felt like somebody said, well, we need a movie. Okay, why? Because we need a movie. Oh,
because we have to establish our IP.
Right. And the Mario movie is like, well, why make one? Like, it's arguably one of the world's most successful franchises. Why? And the answer was because we have a good idea and it's a good story and it'll be joyful. And I think specifically, Eric, the feeling that I had most strongly in that movie was there's a sequence where I'm trying not to spoil it because I really think it's worth everybody who listens to this podcast seeing the Mario movie. But there was a sequence where Mario tries again and again to master skills in a way that made me feel so loved and seen as I'll say it, small to medium gamer, somebody who, I need the tutorials. I'm not in here like getting good at every game I pick up. And it really gave me some emotions about how much, I don't know how validating it is to see someone try and fail and for the message to be, well, the more you do it, the more you improve, especially with Mario. Like you have those videos on all the time at home of YouTubers doing like custom levels and doing ridiculous challenges and doing speed runs. It's so fun to watch them, try and then succeed ultimately.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Again, I feel like this was so inspired by Super Mario Odyssey, the game on the Switch, of like the wild things that Mario can do if you have the skill. It's like he is a guy from Brooklyn who is a plumber who's good at jumping. There's a sequence in Brooklyn that was really good where he's like parkouring a little bit.
Yes.
I guess he's just good at that. And it's like, all right, yeah, good job, my man. You're my short king. He's like 5 feet tall to start with. Also, I want to give a shout out as a gamer who lives in Brooklyn. It felt really good. Like we kind of nailed it. It was still a little bit New Donk City in the way. Like it was definitely a cartoon version.
Shiny.
But it was still nice. I still liked it.
Yeah.
Look at all the Italians everywhere.
I know. It was really, really sweet. And yeah, just the rendering of New York City streetscapes I'll never get tired of.
Absolutely not. I think that we should say some things that we liked about the movie. We can also say some stuff we didn't like about the movie so people can feel a little bit informed. I want to say the thing that we liked is how we saw it.
Yes, we did. All right. Say the story, honey, because you no-scope this.
Oh, okay. Well, we live really close to a very small theater here in Greenpoint. It's called Stewart's Cinema. I think 30 seats, but like really like 20 good seats. as movie theaters do. So we were like, oh, we have a bunch of stuff to do. We were going to see Jen De La Vega for her birthday. Hi, Jen. I hope you're listening.
Past and future guest.
Past and future guest, Jen De La Vega. So we were going to see her later on because she was doing like a lunch thing. So like, oh, there's an 11 o'clock a.m. movie. Do you want to go see it? And then we'll go and see Jen.
And Eric, you don't know this about me, or you didn't experience it, but before we dated, I would very often see like a 9, 10 a.m. movie by myself on weekends with a bagel and a thermos of tea. That was like my weekend routine.
I love that.
Start off my day and then go, grocery shopping, to a museum, to the park, whatever. But that was the Amanda special.
That's perfect. Okay, so then this was awesome.
Yeah.
So we walked in and we were like running a little late. We're like, it's like 11:02. I'm like, okay, we got to go in there. And of course, like we're living in 2023. We had our own seats. So we go over there and the guy who gets our tickets are like, oh yeah, you're the only ones in there. So like, let me know if you need anything. We're like, what? So we looked around and no one was in there. It was awesome.
And you're skipping over the best part, in my opinion, which is that you got a 2-for-1 offer. So you paid for one ticket. We got 2.
Yeah, but like Fandango offered that. I think a bunch of people took that.
Listen, I think it was
I got
great.
it from Wario64. Like that's just from the Twitter that I follow.
So for less than $20, 20 American dollars.
For less than $20 American, we had a private room for how we watched it at 11 a.m.
And because it's a really nice independently owned theater, I got a tea for like $2 and,
I brought my iced coffee and a thermos in. Yeah.
The guy didn't care, tipped the kid $2 on the $2 tea. He was happy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so that was really nice. What's something that you liked? So we can be a little bit more specific.
I really liked how they treated the idea of violence and death in video games.
Sure.
Where there was some kind of like, falling off the platform into the water or to the ground sort of resets in that kind of first learning to platform sequence. And then, especially with Mario, the idea of power-ups.
Yes,
the idea that when you get, they render them really cool, seeing the floating cube, I love it. I'm a sucker for it. But the fact that Mario could get a power-up and then get like bonked on the head, and all that happened was the power-up disappeared, was a really good way to see that he was like losing tools or losing progress or like, took an L in the fight, as it were, without seeing him like get knocked out. Like there was Mario didn't have like a bloody nose at any point, or like
right. I was
teeth.
Trying to compare, oh my God, bloody teeth Mario. I was trying to compare this to like an action movie, like to Die Hard, where Bruce Willis's like outfit gets significantly more and more torn up and dirty.
Oh,
it's like, yeah, that's another way to do it. But I like that Mario, much like in a video game, you go up and down health instead of dying. And I think that was something that was good because the thing I love were the rules.
Yes.
Something that really bothered me about the Dungeons and Dragons movie is that it was just kind of like some fantasy pastiche and didn't have any rules as applied to the actual game of Dungeons and Dragons. Like there was no talk of spell slots. There was a kind of like a winking, lampshading stupid thing about an item in there, but it wasn't really involved in the movie. But the rules of the game say, well, when Mario gets hit, when he has a power-up, he goes back to regular Mario.
Yes.
And all the rules about blocks and about fighting and about obstacles and all that stuff
Even the pipes as well, like traveling.
The pipes were adhered to. The stuff with the Mario Kart were all wonderful things. I don't know if you saw, but something I noticed was like, even when when Mario did a drift in his car, it made the light up like sparks of the different colors would signify the boosts you get when you do the drift.
I'm not that deep to notice that, but that's amazing.
I mean, listen, you can go on the website. Go on the one website that exists, which is the Internet 3.0 right now, and you'll see the cajillions of Easter egg stuff. I don't have to explain all of it. But like, they followed the rules of Nintendo games, which I thought was really nice and grounded the movie in something that everyone knew, or if you were a child, because this is a children's movie, it made sense. But that was cool.
Yeah, and there were some nice kind of moments of like, plot coming back where, a thing that was identified to you and demonstrated early in the movie came back to have plot significance near the end. Again, plot in like, it was like a 2 out of 10 plot.
Right, but like it was a children's movie, it's fine.
Of like depth, not of quality. Like it did exactly what it had to do. The plot was, person loses something important and is out of place, has to find their way back and like help people along the way. It was perfect. I could like, as soon as we got out, the thing I said to Eric was like, wow, I could really see myself putting this on as like a sick day movie.
Yes.
So my feeling here in our live journal post is like joyous. It just made me feel joy. And it is really amazing. I think we so rarely get the opportunity to like see things we already have such warm feelings about rendered in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
And even though this is like literally an adaptation of, again, one of the most successful franchises of all time, it
Right.
felt new and it felt inventive and it was just so sincere and joyous.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed by some of the celebrity cast. They didn't do a great job. Hire voice actors instead of celebrities. Chris Pratt, though,
Wow,
was
Eric,
not.
really brave of you.
I know, I'm really brave. Chris Pratt was not so bad.
Yes.
So don't worry about that if you want to go. Honestly, I feel I have really good reviews to say about a lot of this stuff. Here's something, because I'm here with Amanda, who should have her own economics podcast.
Oh, thank you.
If you want that, just let me know. What do you think that this means for the future of video game adaptations? Because I don't know if you've seen this, but like this movie has crushed the box office. It is now the largest opening for an animated movie ever, beating Frozen 2.
Wow.
I think it beat Avatar's opening. At least it's the new one.
Wow.
It is also important to note that I don't think the D&D movie is going to make their money back.
No, certainly not. It has not grossed anywhere near its reported budget. And
yes. Shout out to Marquez, who told us this.
Yes. Marquez, the GM. And I don't think it has grossed certainly anywhere near its marketing budget, which is unreported, but likely at least the same as the D&D movie's production budget. So
yes.
$300 million or so, it's a lot.
It was $150 reported budget, and then you can assume to double it for marketing.
Yeah, most huge movies like that spend at least as much as the production budget on marketing, which is crazy when you think about it. And this movie, perhaps more. But no, I think that the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie in theaters, I hope teaches other games that it is worth waiting to put out something that's really good. And if it's not good, don't put it out. I felt that way about Pokemon, where like the Pokemon craze was crazen for a good 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh, you throw those in your cereal and like in muffins to give a little bit of sweetness?
Eric, I grew up in the 90s. I have had many a crazen as a sweet treat on a spinach salad in my life.
Yeah, dude, same.
So listen, they took the amount of time they needed to get this right. They chose a studio that was really invested in the story and knew how to do this kind of movie really well. And I think that putting out something where, you pay for things that you think other people have done successfully and hope to replicate that and put no heart or soul into a movie, again, from my perspective, just to say, oh, well, we'll just we'll get these suckers to keep paying us for movie tickets because they won't pay us for D&D books, which is Hasbro's plan, is not it. You can enjoy and love this movie if you know Mario and if you don't. And I don't think I didn't feel trapped. I didn't feel like I had to be there, like they're trying to sell me on other things. Did I go to Target and look for Super Mario movie tie-in Lego sets?
I was going to say that,
We did. And we did get a Mario lamp for our library.
Go to Target right now before the movie
seriously.
gets out of theaters and buy some of the promo materials.
Seriously. I really hope the answer is, and again, there was some celebrity casting that I wish they hadn't done. I wish I just got the Mario guy. Like, he would have been fine.
He was in it, though. He did good.
He did do good, yeah. But no,
But he's a voice actor. He doesn't just do Mario. He's a good, very good voice actor, Charles Martinet.
He really is. Yeah, no, his resume is astounding. But I think this should teach us that consumers are not indiscriminate, chomping mouths, eating anything that gets force-fed to them.
I think that's what the Marvel stuff has taught the movie business, and that's not the case. I mean, we're seeing it now. It just so happens that Marvel hit a bunch of home runs in a row, and Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are very good actors.
Yeah, and they published, 2 movies a year for 10 years or whatever the figure was, not because they super wanted to mint the money. I think that's happening now, but because they, needed to sell these characters to us, like get us invested in them before Endgame. And that was the plan. Like, it was building towards something, and D&D's thing is building toward printing money for things they already own, and not just making money on books and gamers anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, especially the contracts that they had the Marvel actors on. It's like, we need to get these done now so that you all can keep being Black Widow and Captain America and Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is, let's think about what media are best adaptation-wise. Animation, right? For superhero stories and for video game stories. Why the fuck are we doing live action? I don't know. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I am thinking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I'm thinking about this movie. If you want goofy stuff to happen, why are we overworking VFX houses so it looks like Garbo?
I don't know why Into the Spider-Verse didn't make every other studio cancel their live action fantasy adaptations. Like, it worked so well, and again, there's absolutely no way this could have been done better. Like no other medium, I think, could have worked in terms of animation, a movie this length. And it was amazing. And we saw the Across the Spider-Verse trailer right before, like that was one of the trailers that played for us.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so fucking amped on it. Like that
really
looks
good.
like a comic book. And not that I need a one-to-one, but it feels like a comic book. And it feels like the right thing to suit the story.
Yeah, people were showing the like some screenshots from the original Mario movie, the one that came out years ago that was really weird.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah, and it's like, hey, the thing you're missing is called product design.
Yes.
It's like if you like what's happening, it's because people made it and they filmed it and it looks good. Like in 2023, I don't see anyone investing time and effort into actually doing production like that, making stuff.
Why us? Why now? Why this way? And how can we
It's
what does it serve the story?
Especially if an executive just gonna say, dude, make that digital. What are we doing? Why are we making this?
Yes. Why pay someone?
It's just always gonna feel that uncanny valley and push back, which again is something that we're understanding from the Disney adaptations, the real life adaptations.
Yes.
After it looked so bad, the trailer that played on the Oscars.
Oh, the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I know, that poor woman. The
I know.
poor actor.
Halle Bailey, you're doing your best. Everyone is hating on you, obviously, because you're not a white woman, and that's hard for you. Melissa McCarthy, you're trying your best being Melissa McCarthy. I get it. I'm sure you're doing good. Your voice is great. But, like, I don't want to see a real turtle. I don't care. I like it when you drew things.
I like Daveed Diggs' voice, but he doesn't have to be a CGI lobster.
Is Daveed Diggs Sebastian?
He is. Is this a new frontier for Jewish representation? Yes
No,
or
it's not. No.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No. Oh, God. It worries me that Hamilton just became like
I know.
a feeder system for Disney.
I know.
Really freaks me out.
Again, that was the wrong thing people took from Hamilton is, oh, let me mint these people and pop them in whatever project I want and or make things about the American Revolution.
Question mark?
That's not it. That's not it.
Question mark? I don't know.
Again, like we're not just ceaselessly and without sort of discernment eating whatever comes into our mouths. Like I like Mario. I will spend my money on cool Mario merch and not shit Mario merch. I will see good video game adaptation stories and not bad ones.
Let me say something here. How about like you get one chance, I will give you one ticket, but if you fucked it, I'm not going to see a second one.
Yes. I'm not seeing future D&D movies. We saw the first one for free because someone thought we were influencers, but
we are influencers. We're the first husband and wife influencers that exist.
Not paying for the other shit. No.
So I think, yes, Mario movie, good.
What was your feeling, Eric?
Oh, the feeling I had was, I think, wonder, joy. It was genuine joy. I saw my good friends in Brooklyn doing stuff. I liked it. It was nice.
Aww.
I was just enjoying it.
Love it. We match. It's like his and her towels, joy and joy of our feelings.
Oh, is that what you said, joy? Oh, I guess it's also what I feel.
Cute.
How about my feeling is a kid going, wow.
Yeah.
And he's like 6 and he has buck teeth.
Yeah.
That's me.
And you're holding a parent's hand, but the hand is so high because you are so small.
Yeah, and I'm turning around and Mario's winking at me and none of the parents will stop because they won't believe me when I say that Mario winked at me.
Cute.
And said my full name.
Eric Lawrence Silver.
Wahoo! Hey, it's Eric, and I picked up some snacks for games and feelings. How do you feel about broccolini? I like broccolini, and it's very fancy. So it's like the fancy cousin, like the bougie cousin of broccoli, which is why I like it, because it's delicious. And I'll put it in my mouth with lemon and garlic. You can fry that up really quickly. It's good. Broccolini. Eat your vegetables. I think you should also be a part of the Patreon at patreon.com/games and feelings, just like newest patron, the Queer Mess. If you don't want to hear me come up with food every single time, if you want to skip the mid-roll entirely, you think you'd like ad-free episodes? Is that something you'd like at the $5 or $10 tier? Would that bring more of you in to Games and Feelings? Let me know. Please reach out. I definitely want to know. And as always, shout out to producer level patrons, Polly Burridge, Kelsey Duffy, and Peyton, who take time out of their day to comment on the photos of video game cosplayers, but not just like, oh my god, I love this, but they really pick out a thing of artistry that they appreciate, like, oh my god, you got like the fold of the fabric, or oh my god, you got the makeup totally right. Incredible. You're all incredible. You would be even more incredible if you contribute to independent podcasting at patreon.com/gamesandfeelings. If you don't want just to listen to Games and Feelings, we have plenty of other shows here and multitude, just like Tell Me About It. If you like me, maybe you'll like me in a weird game show with a historic improver pretending to be a multi-billionaire, challenging people to prove the things they like are interesting and good. That is Tell Me About It, hosted by me and Adil Rafai, who you might know from Hello from Magic Tavern and Hey Riddle Riddle. Adil is playing an eccentric billionaire who makes me, his audio butler, prove that the most interesting and cool thing ever is the movie musical Grease, but a guest comes on to try to disprove that and talk about their favorite things. New episodes come out every other Thursday. I wanted to see Taskmaster, the wonderful game show from the UK. I wanted to see that in podcasting, and this is the closest that I've ever gotten. I hope you really enjoy it. It's Tell Me About It, the most fun podcast run by a multi-billionaire. We are sponsored this week by Tab for a Cause, which is a browser extension that lets you raise money for charity while doing your thing online. This thing is so simple. Whenever you open a tab, you get a beautiful photo and a small ad, and then part of that ad money goes toward charity of your choice. You don't have to do anything. You become a good person just by opening tabs up. And you can join Team Games and Feelings by signing up at tabforacause.org/gamesandfeelings. I've been using Tab for a Cause for a very long time, and I've been contributing to Don't Forget to Be Awesome for that extended period of time. The charities have been there. They're devoted. Tab for a Cause makes it super simple for you to raise a little bit of money at a time and be a good person. Check it out. tabforacause.org/gamesandfeelings. And now, back to the games.
All right, honey, shall we get to some advice today?
It's a you, Eric. Yeah, go ahead.
So, as you know, we are the first husband and wife podcasting team. And so today I have brought you a story of two gamer wives. Are you ready?
Two gamer wives?
Yeah.
Is that what Big Love was about?
Yep. It's a tale of two wives, Eric. And they have different relationships to games. And I thought it was really funny.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So we...
Oh my God, I thought these were like two lesbians who were married to each other.
Oh, no. You've covered many such a question here. On
these are guys writing into
Eric, these
columns?
are mainstream advice columns. So yes,
these are guys writing into advice columns saying, my wife hates my gaming stuff.
We'll be surprised.
Oh, this is a twist.
So this is from Dear Prudence, Sinead Desmond Harris in 2023.
Okay, so Sinead Desmond Harris strikes me as someone who does not spend a lot of time online. Like maybe someone, I guess she's been, I actually don't know a lot about her history.
She's been a writer and columnist online for a long time. She's a Black woman, and I think that probably relates to the amount of hate and perhaps frustration she gets online.
Sure, okay, but also I was going to say, sometimes she's so out of pocket on these questions.
She strikes me as somebody who hits up the group text and not necessarily like Twitter, which I think is good for self-care. But I often feel like her judgments, maybe Slim on its slate is pushing her, I don't know, to be like particularly decisive, and like there is no gray zone between the things.
I understand. I just feel like sometime maybe in late 2020, she's like, you know what? I'm deleting all the apps on my phone. I'm only texting my friends.
Yes.
And she has not like been on the internet much in the last 3 years.
I think that's probably true.
Okay, give me the question.
So this was from January 2023, so just a few months ago. And the question goes, my close male friend, quote, Derek.
Derek. Maybe it's Derek Jeter.
Oh,
do you think?
What?
Maybe it's Jeets.
With the gift baskets?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe it's former shortstop and Yankees captain Derek Jeter.
Okay, we'll see.
Who slept with... Wait, now we have to talk about this.
No, true heads, no. No, Derek Jeter had like a go-to gift basket for women he slept with to like give them the next day to sort of signal that this was over, but they got like a headshot and shit.
Yeah,
and people,
it was real.
When they like compared texts or like compared notes and figured out that this was a thing that he gave to everybody, everyone's like, that's déclassé.
Yeah, it was the same gift basket.
Yeah.
It was a real like Leonardo DiCaprio situation.
Yes.
There's only like you have to be a very specific person. One, you have to be like the most famous person in the world, which Derek Jeter was for an extended period of time in the early 2000s.
Yes.
You need to be incredibly attractive that women will sleep with you. You need to be so rich that you have this all of the time.
I know.
You have to be single. I think that's something that's kind of underrated. Like, Denzel Washington strikes me as a guy who was married quickly. You know what I mean?
He's been married his whole fame.
Like he's been in a relationship.
Yes.
While Leo and Derek Jeter's just fucking out here in the streets.
Yeah, airing their business in public.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay.
So,
yeah, Jeets. All right. So
Jeets,
Derek Jeter.
Jeets turns into a different person when my boyfriend, quote, Sam is around. I said gamer wife. This is a gamer girlfriend.
Okay. That's fine.
I became close friends with Jeets and later his whole friend group in the last few years. I have a lot of affection for Jeets and we have a lot of shared interests. I'm just calling him Jeets now.
No, I love it.
But I've never had any attraction to him. Always bad when you have to be like, listen, we're friends and I'm not giving him vibes.
Well, because he's shortstop for the Yankees. What are you supposed to do? He has so many rings.
All right. I started dating Sam within the last year and introduced him to Jeets
yikes.
and his friend group within the last few months.
There's Bernie Williams. There's Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, who's a baseball player? Mike Piazza.
Oh, he was on the Mets. I stuck to just the Yankees I knew from that time.
Fuck. Okay. Aaron Rodgers is a football player.
Yeah. Aaron Judge is currently on the Yankees. Was that what you were going for?
Who's Jeter's rival? Married to Jennifer Lopez? Did she marry a baseball player?
Oh, you're delving into celebrity gossip territory I can't pull out of my brain right now.
Right.
I think he dated Jennifer Lopez. That sounds like a thing she would do in 2001. It was they dated. Jennifer Lopez was there in 9/11. That's all that happened in 2001.
Pre-iPhone, post 9/11. We know this.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, started dating Sam within the last year, introduced him to Jeets and the friend group. The 2 times I've had Jeets and Sam in the same place, Jeets acts like a low-key jerk.
It's only happened twice. How long have they been dating? A year?
They've been dating within the last year, the question writer said, and then within the last few months, they've hung out twice.
That's okay. That's acceptable.
A regular amount.
If Jeets is acting like a douche, I can see why it's only happened twice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jeets makes jokey fun of Sam and seems to take inordinate pleasure in things like beating him at board games. I don't think
Bet you can't hit this home run, Sam.
You can't even give him a yellow card. This is baseball.
Yeah. How many gold gloves do you have, Sam?
Wait, what's a gold glove?
That's it's a defensive award you get in baseball.
Oh, Eric, do you know that my last year of softball in middle school, I got the sportsmanship award because I played in the All-Star game for the league.
Oh, you
because
did?
The other catcher dropped out. She got bronchitis, and so I was the only other catcher who was available, and so I played, and so everyone else got a real award, and I got sportsmanship.
Oh my God.
I was really proud.
That's fine. I also got a sportsmanship award in the Ultimate Frisbee.
Oh,
yeah.
Cute.
I would think I was heart of the team. If you can imagine.
If I know you, Eric, you were.
Yeah, I was heart of the team.
So I don't think Jeets understands that he's going too far. His unusual relationship with his friends is one of mutual making fun of each other, but I feel it's inappropriate for him to do this to my boyfriend, who he's only hung out with twice. My boyfriend's very cool about it and just thinks Jeets is jealous of him, which I do suspect is the case. My birthday's coming up and I'm really stressed about interactions between them to the point where I told Sam to just stay out of Derek's way, Jeets' way, to preempt any sarcastic jabs. Should I let Jeets have, quote, strike 3? I was there the whole time.
Jeter.
I was there the whole time. And see if he behaves or talk to him in advance.
Okay. Before we get into real advice, can I say some gendered things for a second?
Again, we're in the realm of advice columns, perhaps the most heteronormative thing in American society.
Right,
yes.
Right. I think that Question Asker is getting in the way of Jeets sizing up Sam, which is a thing guys need to do. Obviously, Jeets is protective of his friend. Maybe he does have feelings for her, but maybe Sam sucks. That's very underrated. Maybe he thinks that Sam's a dweeb and that he needs to be put in his place. Maybe he's testing him. I think that there's something here that Question Asker is missing because I assume she is a straight woman and is not actually examining the relationships of guys that can be emotional and complex and sociological and just wow, guys are so fucking stupid. All they do is make fun of each other. That's why I wanted to say that, because she said that in the question.
No, I think this is really true. And I've definitely been to queer spaces where somebody insults me, the first thing I walk in the door. And it's, it's part of how we communicate. And it's, especially among cis gay men, there is, you'll give a little jab, do a little reference, point out something on somebody's outfit. It just is a part of kind of sizing each other up socially and normal in the friend group in a way that isn't outlying, harassment, super mean. And I really identified with this question asker because I've definitely been in the same situation where I feel responsible for everybody else's interactions and happiness, especially around something like a birthday where you're gathering people that are around you. But I think the important things here are that, the letter writer is being sensitive for her boyfriend, seeing about, his experience, but he's fine. And he's like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. Like, we'll figure it out.
I don't know. No. See, I don't think that. From what she's saying, maybe that's the case. However, it sounds like Sam, he does not want to be friends with Jeets and her friends.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you beat someone really hard at something and you relish it, and then you're like, nice, good game, I'm going to fuck you up next time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's you. That's a test. It's like, are you okay with being beaten? Sam might have went, here, well, I did, here, if only if only the iron had gotten farther and I had gotten the thing. I was lucky. Then I think that might be what happened here if we're looking at the games part of it.
That's true. I think that the thing I agree with you about that I didn't say is like, I don't think it's unusual that this is happening and it's in the first 2 times they hung out. Like that's like how you start. And then later you get to even out the interaction, or you like make sure you can give as good as you can get before you kind of like normalize.
Right. To me, and I want to say bros, I guess I shouldn't have said guys because I don't think that this is necessarily gendered, but like bro-y culture.
Yeah.
And of varying successes and
shout
good
out
business.
lady bros, shout out non-binary bros.
Yeah, no, seriously,
it's a thing. Yeah,
seriously. That like you want to you poke and you see if it's okay. Maybe what I want to say is like the question asker is saying there is nothing like, wow, you're being such an asshole. But I think the tool that's being used is a sledgehammer. It's not a scalpel. But it is a sledgehammer, but that's not to say that a tool isn't being used to assess if this relationship is good, if this guy is good for question asker, and also fits in the relationship.
That's very true.
So I think that she's casting a lot of shit. It's obviously she's taking Sam's side. And she's like, wow, it's wild that you think that Jeets is such a jerk, even though he's a Yankee and gets paid millions of dollars. I don't know. I just like I want to give some pushback on behalf of Jeets.
No, I think that's a read that I and Janae Desmond-Harris did not have at all, and is really worthwhile here.
Did you see that article that came out recently that was written by Rebecca Fishbein, who's someone I worked with at Gothamist?
Ooh.
The thing about how people are using the language of therapy on each other, and it's like and it's like ruining relationships.
I did not, but I imagine what she's getting at.
I'll put the link in the episode description because it's really good. But I think that like there's a thing that's going on that like people are looking for language to not have relationships and to like give them permission to like act however they want. And I feel like this is similarly what happens in advice columns where it's like, I don't like what's happening here. Instead of me trying to suss out and trying to have a conversation with someone and figure out what is actually the underlying issue, I'm going to see what Dear Prudence has to say. So it's going to approve what I'm saying, pre-approve any of my actions so I can go ahead with the easy thing. The easy thing is telling Sam to get out of Jeets' way. Is that going to be good if you two continue to date? I'm sure that is only going to erode at your relationship. You're going to have a worse relationship with your friends, or you're going to break up with Sam.
Yeah, like as with many advice column questions, a conversation and good communication can probably help here. And letter writer, if she's worried about what Derek thinks of Sam, which might be in the back of her mind, then she could say, hey, Derek, what do you think of Sam? And then you have to get that answer.
Yeah, she's worried about what Jeets is going to say.
Yeah.
And being like, I mean, it sounds like she's talking with Sam, but Sam's also fronting for his girlfriend. Sam's like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, these guys can do messing whatever, but I'm just going to like, he's kind of an asshole, but it's fine.
Well, the thing that interested me about this question to begin with was like, you shouldn't play board games with all people. And
oh my God, so funny that Derek Jeter is fucking owning this guy and being like, all right, and that's a Twilight Imperium. It's been 8 hours. I won. I'm
going to leave your house now.
It's like, thanks for the fucking snacks, Sam.
But also that board games can be a really interesting test of exactly what you're describing, Eric, of how people deal with like conflict and defeat, negotiation, and things going, not to plan. And I think everything's fine here if the letter writer lets it be what it is. And if anyone has a problem, they say it.
Yeah, there's a thing at the end where it's like Derek is going to give sarcastic jabs. I'm like, it doesn't sound like that's what Derek's doing. It sounds like that's what you think you do. I think question asker is filling in her behavior on behalf of Jeets. And that's what he's like, she's not meeting these guys where they are. And I think that that's something I think she needs to ask Derek. She needs to ask Derek Jeter, do you like Sam? I'm getting vibes that you don't. And it's up to Jeets to either say the truth, or if Jeets wants to lie and say, no, Sam's all right, even if he doesn't think that.
That's the thing we all do. Yeah.
That's his choice. But the question asker is worried about this, and she's asking Prudence instead of him. And because I think Janae Desmond Harris says something that you anticipate your Prudence to say, is why I don't like what her answers are a lot of the time. Like, she's like, yeah, girl, you're right. And I feel like that's something that she says a lot, which is why I chafe sometimes at her answers.
Yeah, she also likely gets an inordinate amount of mail and probably chooses the letters she feels are pretty cut and dry or pretty clear or, identifies with in some way.
Yeah, especially a new thing that she's doing, or I shouldn't put this on her, the new thing that Slate is doing on Dear Prudence, where like when there's a really, really thorny question that Janae Desmond Harris doesn't want to deal with, all they do is take a screenshot of it and say, what do you think? Which is like, we're literally just trying to be Twitter bait now, huh?
Yes.
It's wild.
I have a lot of feelings about how Slate operates their business. That is for sure.
I met someone who's on like their parenting podcast, and like
oh, really?
I was biting my tongue to be like, I want to ask you so many questions
Spill the tea.
About being like an advice column based media company.
But I think you can probably guess, Eric, that Prudy's advice here was, I'm glad you're, Jeets definitely has a crush on you. I'm glad your guy's so confident and not take it personally. It sounds like Sam could hold his own. You don't need to do anything. And, if you don't like hanging out with them and think that, and then she says, quote, jabs and nasty comments, which I don't think was in the letter. Don't hang out with Derek anymore.
Yeah. Drop your friends so you can be with this guy, I guess.
I think, again, in the text, if we had heard like, hey, Derek gets on all of our nerves. I don't like how Derek talks to me. And now this new boyfriend is bringing all these things out on someone new in a way that I can't stand for anymore. That's something.
Even a little more simple. I don't like how Derek talks to me when I'm in a relationship.
Right.
This is something that's happened before. I brush it off because he's my very good friend, but I'm reaching a breaking point because I really like Sam. That is not what she said.
Yeah.
That is not what question asker said.
Instead, we have, making jokey fun of Sam, which I think all of us, or many of us do to our friends, and takes pleasure in beating him at board games, which, again, being like, booyah, and then being like, I'll get you next time, bro. Like, that's a thing that bros do.
Yeah, you could do that. I think the Jeets wanted to see what Sam would do. That's what I think. I don't know. It just bothers me. It just feels like these incredibly liberal enclaves just is like toxic masculinity and just throws it at that. It's like, no, that's not what it is. It's not that. And you can't just throw that at a thing because you think that that's the panacea. It's a word you heard, and now you're going to put it on everything.
It's true. And people have, I think, reasons for their actions a lot of the time. And, there's absolutely space for be like, wow, I have tried a lot of things and this is not working for me. And, that is the answer some of the time. But I think as much as people who have to, cut people off or end relationships, I'm glad that they're getting, some amount of like examples of other people who have done it and be like, yeah, it's fine. Your life can go on. I feel like we don't get the context that is often people's last resort. And like the thing you try after you try all kinds of other stuff. And having conflict with your friends does not have to be the end of a friendship. And saying like, hey, I didn't love this, or hey, what do you mean? Or someone saying like, hey, I would like this from you, or need this from you, or this didn't make me feel good, or why'd you do or think that, or hey, what do you think of this? It's the thing I'm worried about, is actually really lovely and an act of real like care and investment in your friendship, which are, as I get older, more and more precious to me.
For sure.
Eric, are you ready for our second gamer wife?
Yes, I am. Big love me. I have two beautiful gamer wives.
Lovely. I'm the first one, and I'll always be the best.
Yes,
so
you're the head wife, but then all these other
oh no,
advice
I'm the
columns.
on-paper wife.
Yeah.
So, Dear Abby is still publishing.
Oh, okay.
Despite what you may think, which is perhaps the most middle America, boomer audience, centrist advice column that you could possibly find. She actually did give advice to somebody saying that the letter writer's husband was a jerk for not wanting his daughter to be coached by a trans woman at school. And I thought that was great.
Whoa.
And didn't expect that. So go, Dear Abby.
All right. Acceptable, Dear Abby.
Acceptable. Baseline acceptable.
I want to give someone a card that says acceptable on it.
I know, right? So this question goes, Dear Abby, my wife and I have been together for 25 years and had an ideal marriage.
Oh, well, Amanda and I are the first husband and wife team to write into a media thing, so I don't
It's
know.
true. It's true.
I guess we've been married for longer than that. That's wild.
Did you know that that the day after this episode drops is our 6-month anniversary, babe? I think what we
Of
get
our
each other
of
for
being
that
wed?
of being wed.
Oh, that's cool.
And now my present to you is content. This is the content anniversary.
The 6-month anniversary
Yeah.
is content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't do paper anymore because newspapers are dead.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
we pivoted the paper anniversary to digital.
Well, that'll be a few years from now. Who knows what kind of content will be?
No, it's 6 months from now. It's the paper anniversary. That's
Oh, is
number
that one?
That's one.
Oh,
That was my joke.
I see. Well, it'll have to be like
Now we have to
glass
do the digital.
now.
It's the digital
silicone
version.
anniversary.
Yeah, screen anniversary.
Amazing. So,
The backlight anniversary.
the blue light filtering anniversary.
Yeah, where you give each other glasses.
Yeah.
Filter out the blue light. Yeah.
Shit, that's funny. She has recently become a dedicated baseball fan, or should I say obsessed. She has season tickets and she attends wearing her team outfit.
Okay.
She got a team license plate and scours the daily sports page for team news first thing every morning. She talks baseball with anyone, anytime, including me, incessantly, despite my lukewarm interest. At home on game day, she has multiple TVs on, as well as her laptop and phone dialed to the game, lest she missed 1 second of play. She can talk about every player on a first-name basis and their family in minute detail. When her team misses a play or loses, she gets irate and loudly curses at the TV. I worry she takes it too seriously. She's now bringing her portable TV into bed for late games. Eric, you may ask, it's 2023. What the fuck's a portable TV? I don't know.
Yeah.
An iPad? I don't know.
It's an iPad installed into like one of those
In like a
boxy TVs.
wood veneer box. Yeah. Needless to say, thinking about baseball in the bedroom has thrown a curve to our marital bliss. When I bring up the interference, she argues that, quote, most husbands would be thrilled to be married to a, quote, gamer babe.
Oh my
Gamer
God.
dash babe. Can you referee this
So
disputed
stupid.
call? Signed, striking out in San Francisco.
Okay. I'm going to assume these are the San Francisco Giants because that's the MLB team.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out like if it's a minor league team or something, but I think I'm just going to assume it's the San Francisco Giants. Good news. There's a pitch clock in the MLB now. So games go faster and they end earlier. This goes along a question we had. I don't remember if we did it on main feed. We had a question a while ago that was like, I'm getting married. My ideal wedding day is the biggest game on the college football schedule. My parents are really into college football team. I did it anyway. They didn't come to my wedding.
Or they came to the ceremony, but not the reception.
Something like that. And then there's like, well, I'm upset and I'm really pissed. And everyone is kind of divided on what's good. What should I? Hey, dear Abby, am I good? And what we said to that was, how did you not know that this, of course this would happen. If you want your parents to be there, don't put it on a game day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also from a person who lived, I think it was in the Midwest where it was a college football area.
It was the Huskers.
Yes, it was Nebraska. It was the Cornhuskers. Yeah. Big college football stuff. So this is very similar. This guy is not meeting his wife where she is. It's like, people are fans of sports teams. Like, this is not even the craziest fan stuff I've heard in my life.
No.
High percentage, maybe, devoted fan, but not like crazy. I'm going to assume that this woman is older and this guy is older because they've been together for 25 years. She found a new hobby. She found a new thing that made her excited. And this guy's like, wow, she's really into something that I don't like. If we're going to treat it on that level, fuck off. Come on.
Yeah.
Support your partner in a new thing that they're excited about. Also, baseball is like the least invasive sport. I understand it's annoying on because game days happen at any time. It's not like Sundays for football.
Oh, yeah, right. Baseball players play like hundreds of games a year, right?
Over 100 games for sure. 160 something games if I remember correctly.
Dang.
So it's a lot of games. So I can understand it being invasive. However, baseball games you put on the radio, you put it in the background. This is not so bad. If she was a football fan and she knocked out your entire Sunday, this would be even a bigger problem for you.
Interesting.
So I just like, baseball's not so bad. He should support his wife in her hobby. I don't know. I think that this guy is more worried about the change in his wife that he's not used to.
Yes.
And using this excuse of TV in the bed is ruining our sexual chemistry as a fall back.
I think so. I think the anxiety here is disproportionate to the reality, which is totally fine in the way human beings work, but a sign that, there's something deeper here at play, which is like, hey, my wife is growing and changing, been together for 2.5 decades. And, where does that leave me? Is a completely understandable thing that I think almost every long-term couple faces. So, again, like any hobby, like anything, you can say to your wife, hey, I'm so happy you have this, this new hobby. I, don't share it with the same fervor, which she isn't asking you to do.
No.
But you just be like, babe, I'm so happy for you. Babe, it's amazing. I love Javier, or like whatever, like you get to know your partner's guys in the way that I get to know, the streamers you like, and you get to know the Big Brother players I talk about.
Right. I also don't think that a lot of the stuff that this guy's saying is too far out of the ordinary for someone who's very into a team. Of course you would know all of their names.
Yeah, and that like this person's, this person has 4 kids and this person is like the youngest of 8. Like, you pick that stuff up listening to commentary on games.
How often do we use sports as small talk? Of course she talks about the sports in the city. You live with one of the sports teams.
Yeah.
Also, I think San Francisco is a baseball city. Out of all of the things,
Eric, from baseball romance novels, that's my understanding too.
Yeah, so it's like, of course, everyone cares about the Giants. If you want to like try to enforce boundaries,
yes,
and be like, I don't like this thing as much as you. Okay, let's say she's actually bringing a TV into bed.
Yeah. Okay. So let's picture she's carrying like one of those kitchen TVs that our grandma's had
into
the bed.
I'm envisioning like a boombox
with
with a screen.
Oh yeah, like 3 to 4 game cubes. Let's go with that.
Taped together with one big screen.
Yeah. And put it on her lap, and she's laying in bed, and the husband's like, or can't sleep or whatever. That's fine. Be like, hey, honey, I love this for you. Can we figure out another place for you to watch night games? Can you listen to it, on your phone with earbuds?
Right.
Can you watch it in the den and then come to bed later? Whatever it is. Like, that is a normal and nice thing to ask. You can even say, like, fine, if sex is the thing you're talking about because you feel like it's something that you can actually point to and say this has changed, whereas it's the feelings actually that are inside of you, and those are things that are changing and really worrying you, that's where I think we get into a little dicier territory. But saying, to your point earlier about football, if every Sunday is off the map for 4 months or whatever, however long that season is, then you can say, all right, honey,
you're right. That's pretty good.
Can we pick one? Can we do something? Can we, make sure that like you do the chores on Saturday, I'll do the chores on Sunday, and make sure you have your football time. Like you're allowed to work around the logistics of living together in that way.
Yeah. 1, you're being a big baby. 2, baseball's not so bad. 3, if you actually have a big problem, you need to talk about boundaries and things that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Exactly. And dear Abby, if you were
interested...
guy
in my head, I know that he lives in San Francisco. In my head, he's like, works for Peter Thiel, and thinks that like San Francisco was better when all the gay guys were like out,
Oh, I was picturing like an IBM lifer, But yeah, like a old school Silicon Valley Oracle software or something. Yeah. What would you need multiple TVs on for during game day? Like other games?
Other games. But then again, I don't understand it.
Again, that's normal. That's fine.
I think that this guy is overreacting to so many things. Like when you say, oh my God, she has multiple TVs on all the time, and she had 2 TVs on once.
Yes.
Or 3 TVs on one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm if she's getting into baseball, fine, but it sounds like she's a San Francisco Giants fan. I don't think that she has multiple TVs on more than once unless there was a reason.
I was just
like
thinking
for the
that, like
playoff race or something.
Yeah, like in the playoffs or the postseason, like that I understand, where you're like, oh, you need to track their competition and see how that game goes to see who they'll be facing if they advance or whatever. But like that's that's not for the rest of the season.
Yeah, like that's not how sports television works.
Yes, this really smacks of like, can you believe what the spouse is doing? And then you like, to your point, sort of string together a couple anecdotes to make it sound habitual when it's not.
Yeah.
Dear Abby advised you to essentially set some boundaries. Tell her you love her, but you're oversaturated with statistics and need her to dial back, and explain that the portable TV in the bedroom is interfering with your sex life, and if she values your marital relationship, she'll respect that. So this seems like perhaps the advice I would give like a long-suffering spouse who's not spoken out about something for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think this being a recent phenomenon, that feels a little extreme. I would certainly feel pretty like defensive and attacked if, I was met with that level of like coming up at me about this thing.
Yeah, it seems like Dear Abby needs to convince question asker by saying something like really, really, I guess brutal is the only word I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you don't do that, don't wait. Do it right now, or then you will suffer, to actually get yourself to talk to your wife.
This feels like advice you give somebody whose spouse like has a drinking problem or,
Right.
Gambling or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But she does say at the end, in self-defense, arm yourself with new interests of your own because I have a feeling you're gonna need them.
What does
Which,
that
like,
mean? That's so
why?
weird.
Why is like, oh, like the wife off in baseball land, so you better pick up something else. I don't know. Like we've talked about lots of times with like, hey, are my spouse and I compatible kinds of nerds? Hey, my spouse is getting really into this thing. Hey, I don't understand, tabletop role playing, and my partner really likes it. You can like that they like it. You can be like, babe, tell me all about it. You do a great job of asking me about my silly reality competition shows. I'm like, babe, you won't understand what went down on the feeds today. And you're like, sick, honey. Like, enjoy. And you don't have to watch it. And if I guess, talked about it for hours on end every evening,
Sure.
you'd probably be like, I don't watch that. So I'm not getting the same level of enjoyment, but like, let's do something together.
There's something here as well that it's like, maybe she needs more friends she can talk baseball with, but then you are opening yourself up to her building relationships with other people and leaving you in the dust because you don't want to talk to her about the thing she's into.
That's very true.
So I think that's the kind of flip side of the coin of this PS that Dear Abby's advice in the PS was like, you two should grow apart.
Yes, it was.
Right?
This poor lady likes baseball. She's a lady in her 40s probably who likes baseball now.
No, older than that. I think she's in her 60s. 50, late 50s, 60s.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, like late 40s at the youngest.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
This feels like a sort of post-kids.
Imagine one of our parents started to get into baseball this hard.
You'd be like, Mom, incredible. Let me buy you a jersey. Like, we'd be so into it.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm touching on.
Yeah.
It's like these kids, maybe your kids aren't even like in college anymore. They've graduated college already.
Yeah.
And you two are like figuring out new empty nest stuff. This is like a Jane Fonda movie.
Right. Or you're,
this is
like
80 for Brady.
This is 80 for
This
Brady.
is 80 for
Exactly
Brady.
right. Maybe you're looking toward, retirement or a changing career, or just like, you hit mid-age and you want to find something interesting and new and like a new hobbies. People take up like triathloning or crocheting or volunteering really aggressively to up their social standing in your neighborhood.
Something that I've thought about recently, because one of our friends' parents, who was like a pastor for a really long time, is like now going to law school.
Yeah, it's
and
sick.
I've been thinking about this a lot of like our parents, I feel like a lot of parents are doing this. Like now that their kids are grown, they're
Both
doing.
our moms had career changes in the last
they're
few
doing
years.
big career changes and doing something else. And it's like maybe they saw us. Like the way that like millennials are just kind of like floating around and figuring out what they want to do and taking longer time to, have kids, buy houses, but there are no houses, so fine. But, I guess traditional traditional American adult things, because we're figuring out what we want. And then our parents are seeing that and like, oh, wait a second, I could do that. And now they're doing that at like 60.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that we need to open ourselves up that people change and see that there's freedom to do a thing that they actually want to do, which to this woman seems to be getting really into the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. 100%. And I think certainly being together 25 years, the, expectations of what a successful relationship looks like, and especially a, like heteronormative relationship looks like, probably are very different to what it is now. And like,
Sure.
let's say live in San Francisco, loves baseball. Great. Enjoy. Like, I don't know. I'm happy for her. I support her. And if her husband continues to be a stick in the mud, I hope she does find a nice carousing group of baseball loving people around her own age, or not, that she can, go to bars or have over in an 80 for Brady style game day party.
For sure. The only thing I could think of was like the question asker saying her emails, and it's all these emails from the San Francisco Giants.
Her push noties, and then it's like the MLB app.
Yeah, the ESPN app about the San Francisco Giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good questions, babe.
Thank you, honey. I'm glad you enjoyed my duology of gamer girls.
Thank you. Well, it's time for us to go to our shared house because we're a husband and wife podcasting team.
That's true.
Hey, Amanda, where can people find you on the internet?
I am at She's So Mickey. I do a wonderful podcast that's a D&D actual play show with Eric called Join the Party. And I also co-host Spirits, which is a boozy dive into mythology, legends, and folklore, where every week we learn about a new story from around the world with a cocktail pairing to go with it.
Wow.
That's me.
Wow, that's you. Hey, if you like these episodes, tell us. If you like these episodes, there's more of them on Patreon. Patreon.com/games and feelings. Amanda, I've done a lot of these, and it's been a lot of fun. You can also follow me on social media at L_Silvero, EL_SALVERO. My name if I was a Lucha Libre wrestler. Make sure to keep submitting those questions over on the Games and Feelings website. And Amanda, here's what we say on every single episode when we finish a replay.
We have pork belly in the slow cooker.
We do. We have too much pork belly. We have to go home and deal with the pork belly.
Bye.
Games and Feelings is produced by Eric Silver and edited and mixed by Mischa Stanton. The theme music is Return to French Toast Castle by Jeff Bryce, and the art was created by Jessica Boyd. Find transcripts for this episode and all episodes at our website, gamesandfeelings.com. Until next time, press X to enjoy the podcast.